All right, welcome back. Today, talking about another Cal Newport book. I really enjoy Cal Newport as an author. Earlier today, I was talking to a medical school class about essentially they're preparing for their first board exam, and I was talking to them about the value of deep work. I mentioned this book to them, and then I thought, I've never talked about the book on the channel properly. So this is Deep Work by Cal Newport. If you're looking for just a good read that's truly practical, I enjoy Cal Newport's work, and this is perhaps my favorite book of his, and it's all about the importance of deep work, particularly in today's age. So if we ask the obvious question, what is deep work, we kind of get into a little bit of an introduction here, and he opens up with an anecdote about none other than Carl Jung. So I'm already all in. He says, Jung's lectures and counseling practice kept him busy in Zurich, but this is clear. But he wasn't satisfied with busyness alone. He wanted to change the way we understood the unconscious, and this goal required deeper, more careful thought than he could manage amid his hectic city lifestyle. Jung retreated to Bollingen, not to escape his professional life, but instead to advance it. Jung went on to become one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century. There are, of course, many reasons for his eventual success. In this book, however, I'm interested in his commitment to the following skill, which almost certainly played a role in his accomplishments: deep work. So what is deep work? Cal Newport defines it in his own words as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. So of course, over the following chapters, he explains in more detail exactly what he means by that. But the gist is this, that today, there are two things simultaneously taking place. We live in an age where intellectual abilities are coming at a premium. It is what is necessary to push us further and further into the future and to continually adapt to and work within our systems that have such rigorous adherence to the technological, advancements we've made. And that takes a lot of inherent knowledge and a lot of skills. And how do we advance our capabilities in that regard most efficiently? Through deep work. Now, all the while, we have more and more distractions in the modern age, namely our phones and social media, which people are checking upwards of 100+ times per day. It's always there, it's always accessible, and even the subconscious is at times, prompting us to avoid the effort in front of us and pick up our phone and check it almost in an automatic fashion. You may have noticed that yourself, checking your phone and then thinking, I didn't even think about doing this. It just happened and here I am scrolling. So Cal Newport in this book underlines the importance of deep work, of truly being absolutely intentional with your time and saying, from this time to this time, I'm going to do nothing else but this particular task. Letting yourself become fully immersed in your work and letting yourself get into what is called a flow state. And most of you probably already know what that is. We've talked a bit about yin and yang and that line in between chaos and order, somewhat related to that. In other words, related to performing at a level that is high enough where you're not bored and just going through the motions, but not so challenging that it's overly tedious. It is appropriately challenging you and adding in just enough novelty so that you get into what is known as a flow state. In the flow state, and this is indeed what happens, time tends to disappear, if you will. That sounds a bit dramatic, but I'll give a personal example. One thing that most often gets me into this state is producing music. When I'm fully invested in that, it could be an hour, it could be 6 hours. I'm not getting up to eat or drink or anything else, and that amount of time is irrelevant. An hour, 6 hours, it all feels the exact same to me. It goes by in the blink of an eye. I get into a flow state with that. And I aim to achieve that with other things like studying and reading, other tasks. If you want to truly excel at something, if you want to understand things at a deep level in a nuanced fashion, and you want to give yourself the ability to come up with truly novel ideas, then you have to be intentional with your time in this way and allow yourself to engage in deep work as opposed to shallow work where you're checking your email and checking your phone and trying to multitask. Lots of people these days are really interested in the idea of multitasking. And we have all these new technologies that seem to suggest we can multitask, do many different things at once. And you can to a degree, but your performance level on each of those tasks drops precipitously. So if you really want to excel in an area, something that you're serious about, you need to identify specific time that you're going to be intentional with your work. Engage in deep work. Build it into your schedule. He goes on to give 4 rules. The rules, a brief overview: to work deeply, embrace boredom, quit social media, and drain the shallows. We've spoken here already about this idea of working deeply. Embracing boredom, just to give you an idea, is to allow yourself time where you're not constantly consuming external information so that your brain and your subconscious even can process information, things that you've been learning, and potentially generate new ideas that might get pushed into your consciousness where you're able to work on something that someone else hasn't thought about before. Quitting social media, obviously to avoid those distractions and to give yourself time to think about things. And draining the shallows, identifying those areas of our life where we're doing things, engaging in things that are taking up a substantial amount of time, but not giving us much value in return, at least not helping us really make progress towards our actual goals. Being able to identify those things and to figure out ways to cut them out of our life so that we can spend more time on that which truly matters. So that is Deep Work by Cal Newport. This is a book that I would truly recommend, and it's something you could read, in a weekend or over the course of a week, just a little bit here and there. Easy read, but certainly topical and practical. Again, that's what I like about Cal Newport. So if you hadn't heard of it, or if you've heard of it and just haven't read it yet, I would recommend it. And I also recommend that you join me in working on just being more intentional with our time, avoiding all of the distractions that surround us today, and engaging in more deep work. So thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.